Do we go to, what do you want to do? You want to do the Satan shoes quickly?
Sure, go ahead.
Let's do the Satan shoes because people have been asking the same question. I think I know the answer, but I don't want to, I defer to you at the very least for the US side of this. Satan shoes, everybody knows. Lil Nas X has a company that he's affiliated with or associated with, MSCHF. They bought 666 Nike Air Max 97s, materially modified them by putting red ink in the insole with a drop of human blood. Satanic theme to the shoes. They called them the Satan shoes. 666 being sold at $1,018 each, because that's a verse from the Bible that says Satan fell from the sky. Nike sued. They took they sued for they went with a restraining order, but it didn't look like a temporary restraining order from my reading of it. It looked like a standard trademark infringement dilution lawsuit. I said it was a slam dunk of a lawsuit because that's my belief, not my predetermined belief, because I was actually more on the fence until I read the lawsuit and saw the product. They got a temporary restraining order that I was not actually convinced they had asked for in their pleadings, and I don't know how that happened, and you'll clarify that. And I suspect the lawsuit's going to settle because I don't think there's anything to litigate over at this point. The biggest question people have, one was, why is this different than with the Jesus shoes that incident occurred a year or two ago? There were only 24 of those shoes made and sold. Why is it different? And why is this different than someone buying a Ford, souping it up and reselling it type thing? So I think I know the answer in law, but field that one for me and inform the audience why it's different, what the fundamental difference is between aftermarket tweaking versus trademark infringement and trademark dilution.
It's really the degree to which you're leveraging the trademark for the sale and the pitch and the promotion of the sale. So how much are you profiting from use of the trademark, of somebody else's trademark? So you soup up a Ford, you're selling, what you're really selling is the souped up aspect of the vehicle. You're not selling the brand Ford so much. Now Ford that still wouldn't necessarily stop Ford from suing, and they might be able to still prevail. But what the court, in almost all the intellectual property context, what they're really looking at is, are you profiting off of someone else's investment in their brand? And if you're profiting off of someone else's investment in the brand, that's what you have to kick back to them. Now I think the reason why this got the attention of Nike and the courts is because Jesus shoes, while maybe profiting from the brand, are not disparaging of the brand. Whereas Satan shoes kind of disparage the brand. So I think that's why the court was so sensitive and Nike was so sensitive to rush to bring the case.
Well, so that was one thought I had. It's disparaging, but I could see if you're religious, you don't take any more kindly to the idea of holy water being in the insoles than you do to human blood and satanic themes. So I think if you're religious, you're offended one way or the other. My thing is, everybody's saying, what about the Jesus shoe? I don't think anybody knew that they only made 24 of those shoes. 24 shoes. Aftermarket, I can look at those as artisanal. I can say, yeah, I appreciate that that's an art project that is not sanctioned or approved of by Nike. When I see 666 at $1,000 a pop, I thought it was a Nike shoe. Until I read the article, I said, "Oh, that's a bad choice for Nike." And it's the volume. It's it becomes a commercial enterprise. It's $1 million business. 666 shoes at $1,000 a pop. $1 million Canadian. So there's that. There's the damaging aspect in my mind. And also, just so everybody knows, there was a channel of this guy who rebuilt cars either from scratch or from movies. Oh, he rebuilt the Fast and the Furious car, and he had that car seized on trademark violation. Yeah. So, they can do it on small scale and large scale.
You need to have nothing about the trademark in your pitch of the product. So if you say, hey, I created a car, and you don't tell them anything about what kind of car it is, nothing else, just here's the car, here's what it does, etc., but you know nothing about the brand, then it's very hard for them to argue, well, you're piggybacking off of our trademark. Well, if I never talked about it, never showed it, nobody ever knew it, pretty hard to argue. But here they advertised that these were Nikes.
It looked totally official, and somebody asked me, I said, they could have easily gone with a no-brand shoe. They deliberately chose not to, because half of the marketing on the one hand was Nike itself, political commentary, whatever, or piggybacking off the trademark so that they could sell them for $1,000 a pop. If they're using no name, whatever, they don't sell. Maybe they don't sell for $1,000. Maybe you could not even possibly market them as the Satan shoe with its stark contrast to Nike. So I thought it was a no-brainer from the beginning, but it explained for those who may not appreciate the idea of trademark dilution versus trademark infringement.
In either case, it's when you're using somebody else's trademark for your own profit. And if you're also disparaging the trademark in the process or creating a negative association, then that's trademark dilution. Trademark infringement is where you're just profiting off of it without damaging or disparaging it. And the key is, how much are you profiting off of someone else's investment in their brand? Though some people might say Satan shoes and Nike go together quite easily.
Well, I mean, this was the whole irony, is everyone's saying, like, Nike's objecting to blood being in their shoes when there's blood on their shoes, given how they're made. And speaking of the blood in the shoes, like, I know it's one drop, it's symbolic. Is there not any potential regulatory issues with injecting any human fluid in these shoes? Like, I think like the neurotic hypochondriac, but there seems like there should be some form of regulation preventing that. Is that not a biohazard?
I have no idea.
So anyways, I mean, now you would imagine as well that the profits from apparently they've already sold the shoes. If they haven't shipped them, I suspect they've already shipped 665. Nike, they're going to pay all the profits to Nike. It's a win-win situation. Everyone's got their brand built and protected in this.
Yeah, and they may go after them a little more. I think the other reason they did this is as a deterrent. They wanted people to quit doing it. They don't believe in the crossover that the people that created the shoes want to create cross influences and whatnot. And Nike has no interest in that unless they control it.
Okay, we got this here. Hold on. I can put a flux capacitor on a junk DeLorean DeLorean won't complain. No, I don't know who owns the rights to DeLorean since they've gone bankrupt, but
well, yeah, Mr. DeLorean ended up facing a lot of criminal charges over many years. That's another story. Mm-hmm. Some of the charges were kind of bogus, but that's like a future famous cases for Viva Barnes Law.locals.com.
And incidentally, one of the ones we might have to do sooner than later, someone had brought up the chat. Do you think you must think OJ is innocent? I can tell you that Robert does think that OJ was innocent, as does Dershowitz. It might make for a good evening discussion. Okay, so yeah, I mean, there's nothing more to that. It was obvious. It was black and white. It was a marketing stunt. Had they done one shoe, people probably would have not believed it was an official Nike campaign. 666 shoes, launching it as such, people believed it, and arguably rightfully so. And I'm not trying to protect my own intelligence. I thought it was an official product until I read the article. So black and white. Now, people are asking for Gates. We didn't prepare for Gates, but we might have
I'm prepared for Gates.
Okay. So